Hello everyone, this is Daniel.
This is Edward.
And this is Eric.
Today we're going to talk to you about the Environmental Management Act clean air provisions.
Okay, for the fuel emissions, the government can make regulation in order to prevent and reduce fuel burning emissions, and it also establishing standard and specification and establishing testing and certification method in order to determine if one meets the standard and specifications. It also can determine fees and charges when service or testing and certification take place and establishing who receives the fees and charges. And it requiring manufacturers who are involved in testing, certification, or selling fuels to record and report pertinent information. Determining the duration of time and regions in British Columbia for which the regulations are applicable. And it can also exempting a class of fuel from the regulation. For the oil and gas regulations, the government can determine the standard for which facilities and equipment are authorized to discharge air contaminants unconditionally. And it can set the standard conditions which are used for the measurement of gasoline volume and regulate the emission from burning oil and gases during drilling or other activities. And can also regulate the discharge of wastewater that is produced during drilling. No cumulative related power equipment and facilities, those between 100 and 600 kilowatts, are authorized to discharge air contaminants unconditionally. Registration and authorization are required for those facilities and equipment which have a cumulative related power greater than 600 but less than 3,000 kilowatts. Equipment and facilities are authorized to discharge air contaminants if the gas they emit contains less than 230 milligrams of total sulfur per cubic meter. A person must not offer production liquid for transport unless the emission from the transportation tank contains a concentration of hydrogen sulfide less than 10 parts per million.
Motor vehicle and engine emissions. Powers of the Lieutenant Governor. The Lieutenant Governor can make regulations for the purpose of preventing and reducing emissions from new motor vehicles and from engines. They can also require motor vehicles or engines to install at least one emission control system, requiring the emission control systems to meet the design requirements and prescribed standards. Prescribing standards, specifications, and design requirements. Providing for the testing and the certification of motor vehicles, engines, and emission control systems. Requiring manufacturers to provide emission control warranty when selling a new motor vehicle or engine. Requiring new motor vehicles and engines to meet specific emission control standards. Now for the regulations pertaining motor vehicles and engine emissions. Clear gasoline regulation. This regulation established standards for gasoline that reduce emissions of harmful pollutants, particularly volatile organics. Amendments amended in 2010 to allow the sale and purchase of automotive ethyl blended fuel in British Columbia and to abolish the railed Viper pressure waiver, which allows ethyl blended gasoline to exceed the prescribed limit for Viper pressure during warmer summer months. Gasoline Viper control regulation. This regulation requires the installation and use of gasoline Viper control systems at service stations, bulk gasoline storage plants, gasoline terminals, and on truck cargo tankers. Every owner of a cargo tanker with over 21,000 liters capacity that is used to deliver gasoline must equip their tanker with a Viper balancing system. Motor Vehicle Emission Control Warranty Regulation. This regulation prohibits the sale or the making available for sale of a motor vehicle in BC, unless the manufacturer promises to fix the vehicle free of charge if there are defects in materials or workmanship that cause the vehicle to fail emission standards or the vehicle fails air care.
The Lieutenant Governor has the power to regulate the sale and lease of solid fuel burning domestic appliances. He has the power to enact emission limits for solid fuel burning domestic appliances. He can create standards and specifications for the burning of solid fuels in domestic appliances, require the conductions of tests to meet certification standards for solid fuel burning domestic appliances, decide which persons or organizations will manage the testing and certification of solid fuel burning domestic appliances. He can detail the form and placement of labels on solid fuel burning domestic appliances, and he can formulate the application of fees pertaining to the use of solid fuel burning domestic appliances. The regulations for solid fuel burning domestic appliances are the Solid Fuel Burning Domestic Appliance Regulation, which was implemented on September 19, 2016. This new regulation mandates the reduction of particulate matter emissions by 40% compared to the 1992 emission levels, which will build up to a 73% reduction by 2020. Under the new regulation, the sale of high-emitting outdoor wood boilers is prohibited in British Columbia. New wood boilers must be installed with 40-meter setbacks from property lines with a 10-meter setback for cleaner burning outdoor pellet boilers. The use of older non-certified boilers must be discontinued by November 1st, 2026, unless they meet the required setbacks. So, what materials are banned and what ones can you burn? It is legal to burn in wood stoves and other solid burning appliances cordwood, wood chips, ends from cutting lumber to length, wood pellets, manufactured fire logs, corn kernels, seed hulls, paper and cardboard may be used for the purpose of starting fires. It is illegal to burn garbage, plastics, treated or painted wood, demolition debris, rubber, and unseasoned wood products. So the Lieutenant Governor has the power to make regulations that encapsulate the conditions and controls pertaining to the burning of material from land clearing, land grading, or tilling. This is in relation to open burning. So the regulations on open burning are that they must be conducted at a distance of at least 100 meters from neighboring residences and businesses and 500 meters from schools that are in session, and also hospitals and faculties used for continuing career. This burning must be carried out in such a way that it does not obfuscate the vision of people operating vehicles or provincial roadways or at airports. The direction of airflow must be considered during open burning in order to prevent pollution. And the open burning of tires, plastics, drywall, demolition waste, domestic waste, paint, hazardous waste, tar paper, treated lumber, railway tires, manure, rubber, asphalt, fuel, and lubricant containers, as well as biomedical waste, is prohibited.
For the remarks and recommendations, parts of the Environmental Management Act can be vague in wording or implications. The Act would benefit from more detailed quantitative standards and less qualitative prescriptions. Including further details on enforcement within the Act itself would be beneficial.